Tickle on the tum. Tickle on the what? Look down, there's Tickle Town, and there's the River Tom. Tickle on the tum. Oh yeah, tickle on the tum.
Morning, Ralph.
Morning, Frank.
Morning, Danny.
Morning.
Thank you so much for coming out to help me yesterday. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Well, that's all right. Well, I was not lot to do, really, so I thought I'd get on with this base I'm making out of an old bathtub. Ready for the barn dance, you know? I just got to put a pole on the end and that'll be it.
Like one of those skiffle groups, you mean?
Yeah, that's
My
it,
grandpa used to have one of those.
Well, I thought perhaps we could all do a song together a bit later on, but I'm a bit worried about Danny because she's been like this all morning.
What's the matter, Danny? Haven't you told Ralph what happened?
You tell him. I'm too tired.
Well, it all started when the twins said they'd like to ride on the tractor with me as it turned over the earth in the potato field and collected up all the potatoes. I said I'd be delighted, and Fran and Sue piled onto the tractor with me, laughing and joking, having a fine old time. Well, the tractor chugged along, pulling the plough, which turned over the soil, digging up the potatoes. We nearly finished the ploughing, and all we had to do was gather up all the potatoes in the cart when suddenly, pop, 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 the tractor's engine stopped. Well, I thought it was just one of those things, and I tried to switch it on again. Nothing. Oh dear, I said to the twins, what are we going to do? There we were, stuck in the middle of the field with a whole crop of potatoes on the ground all round us. I'll have to get George from the garage to come and have a look and see what he can do. And we'll have to hurry. Potatoes can't lie there for long. So Fran and Sue and I ran along to the house, telephoned George, who said he'd come out at once. Well, he came and he walked round and round the tractor in the field, muttering under his breath, mutter, 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 and poking it with his finger, poke, 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 ever so often, and shaking his head like that. Well, in the end he told us the news. The poor old tractor was well and truly broken. It could be mended, but you'd have to send away for spare parts, and it would take a week. A week? I cried. I didn't really cry, but I cried out. I said, my potatoes will be rotten by then. They'll all have to be picked up by tomorrow night or else. Don't worry, said George. I'll tell everybody in Tickle about it when I go back. They'll all come and give you a hand. You see. And he leapt into his car and drove off. Well, I don't know, I said to the girls. I don't see how we can save the crop now, but we can get a sack or two up anyway. So Fran and Sue and I each took a sack and began to gather up the potatoes. Well, we'd only been doing this for about half an hour when suddenly crowds of people come streaming into the field. You've never seen anything like it. The whole town turned out to help, and I was so pleased and so busy directing people where to pick potatoes up that I almost lost my voice. Winnie Walker was there with an empty mail sack. Mickey Moon had brought his newspaper bag. Bobby Binns had brought a whole lot of plastic dustbin bags and was handing them out to Dr. Dimple, Dora, Lily, Roland Crust, Barney Bodger, Constable Caper, and Miss Marker. Miss Marker had brought a whole class of children who started busily filling their satchels with potatoes as soon as they got to the field. Dora's lorry and Mike's milk float and Mr. Crust's van were lined up at the edge of the field, ready to be filled with potatoes and driven all the way round to the packing shed at the back of the farmhouse. They worked all day, cheerfully, noisily, singing all sorts of songs. The children didn't think it was work at all, although by the end of the day they had to admit their backs were a bit sore and their hands were black from burrowing about in the earth like lots of little moles. At tea time, we made a big fire in the yard, and Mrs. Field baked enough potatoes for everyone to eat before they went home for their proper teas and their hot baths. When everyone was gathered round the fire, I shouted out, "Thank you all so much. There wouldn't be a potato crop without you lot."
"I wish there could be another field we could do,"
said Rosie Moon.
"It's such fun."
"Maybe you can come again next year," I said. "Even when the tractor's fixed, we could have an annual potato picking day in Tickle." "Yeah, I think we will." Well, everyone went home with as many potatoes as they could carry. "We'll make pictures with potato cuts at school tomorrow," said Miss Marker, the teacher. "We'll be having shepherd's pie for tea," said Lily, the lollipop lady. "Potatoes in their jackets," said Dora, the driver, all stuck up in half a crownish. "Potato salad," said Dr. Dimple. "Tons and tons of chips," said Mickey Moon, and everyone laughed. Fran and Sue and I waved them all goodbye and listened to their laughter as they walked up the road into the village. Just like that. Oh, I shan't forget this year's potato harvest in a hurry, I can tell you.
Neither will you, Danny?
Oh, no, I'm so stiff I can hardly move.
I'll tell you what the trouble is. It's all that bending yesterday. You're not used to it now. Come over here, you see. It's
What's
like
this?
water of a duck's back to me. Now, come
Right.
on, have a bit of exercise, eh?
Will this
And
help?
1,
Right,
2,
oh, yes,
3.
yeah, oh.
2,
2,
3.
3.
Then flexing your chest.
Yes, oh, yes. Oh.
I like that.
Right, yeah.
Hopping
no,
up and down.
Jumping up and down. Right. And jumping. Oh, no.
Oh, dear. Now
Are
she's
you all right,
overdone
Danny?
it.
Oh, no, I'm just can't do it.
Oh dear, can you read your
Oh.
joke from down there though? Because
I'll
we ought to
give
have a
it-
look at the Tickle Mail now. Look,
Yeah,
that's
oh,
what
this
it
might make me feel
is.
better.
It might cheer you right
Oh,
up,
get
yeah.
me.
Oh,
Well, this first one's
Hope
from
so.
Claire Roberts from Overton, North Wales. And she says, "Why did the farmer drive over his potato field with a steamroller?"
I don't know. Why did the farmer drive over his potato field with a steamroller?
Because he wanted mashed potatoes.
it's done the trick, that's it. Right, oh, feeling much better. Now, there's one here from Huey from Withington, Manchester. What exams do farmers take?
I don't know.
What exams do farmers take?
Hay levels.
Now, here's a limerick from Helen Davies, Nelston School, Gower. There was an old farmer of Gower who decided to take his first shower. Oh, he must have been old. He jumped in the spray, said he'd rather make hay, but he stayed there for over an hour.
What sort of thing does a farmer do? He has to work ever so hard. Whether he's out in the fields all the day, or whether he's in the farmyard, feeding the chickens or milking the cows, or rounding up the sheep. When he goes to bed at the end of the day, he very soon falls asleep, 'cause he's ever so tired. What sort of thing does a farmer grow? Oats and barley and wheat, potatoes and cabbages if he's got room, and grass for the cows to eat. Digging and ploughing and sowing the ground with different kinds of seeds. Digging and ploughing and sowing the ground, he grows everything he needs, and he sometimes grows fat. Now, what sort of thing does a farmer drive? A tractor that's big and is strong. Whether he's ploughing a row in the field or pulling potatoes along. A lorry to carry the cows and the sheep from market and back to the farm. and a car that he uses just on weekends, that stays all the week in the barn with the chickens and geese.
All over the car.
Now, what sort of thing does a farmer wear when he is working outside? A waterproof jacket, a scarf when it's cold, and a hat with a brim that is wide. Wellington boots and thick woolly socks, things that are old but have worn. Clothes he can give to the old scarecrow when they get tattered and torn.